walking around in my subconscious quite literally, I realized that I've actually been experiencing a lot of like different good changes in my life. Today is the day I am trying hypnotherapy. Honestly, I am really excited about this experience, but also kind of nervous. Because to be honest, I really don't know a ton about hypnotherapy. I don't really understand what the results are or what the actual process of it's going to look like. But truly, I've been kind of called to this for like years now and just finally have gotten to the place where I'm like, it's time. So that's why I'm creating this little video diary vlog about my experience doing hypnotherapy and basically just letting you guys know what this is, what it turns out to be, how it affects me, that kind of stuff. Now, my reason for doing hypnotherapy is kind of specific, I guess. As I've said in other videos before, I've done different kinds of like talk therapy or just different self-healing methods that I basically try to use for my mental health and physical health symptoms that appear in times of stress. And to be quite frank, I've made a lot of progress using those methods. However, I've hit kind of a wall where I've noticed I can't dig any deeper. So specifically why I'm going to hypnotherapy is because it seems like every single time that I try to travel or even just do anything away from home for just a little bit, my body goes into complete freak out mode, which honestly is kind of new, but kind of not new. I don't really know when it got to be as bad as it has gotten, but basically what I've concluded is that I have a kind of travel or separation anxiety that clearly must stem from something somewhat traumatic because my body in those situations is so debilitated and just kind of out of control. I mean, I just know deep in my heart that there's got to be a fucking reason for that. Like I'm saying, my anxiety gets so bad that I get violently ill for like 12 hours straight where literally nothing I do fixes the problem. Like basically I will have to stay in a bathroom or near somewhere to throw up for hours and hours and hours on end until I get to the space where I feel safe enough to exist as a person. And like I said, I don't necessarily know when that started because I can think of plenty experiences when I was younger where I was away from home and I would get sick, but it was never anything super serious. Like if anything, I would just wake up in the middle of the night and puke. I mean, I can really take accountability for the mental roots of that because I know that I go into kind of a hyper vigilant mode when I'm in a new place, but truly there is no point or benefit of me just getting that debilitatingly sick every time I try to do something a little bit outside of my comfort zone on a physical level. And I just don't think I deserve to live like that anymore. And not only have I gone to a ton of doctors for the more mental health side of that, but I've gone to a ton of physical doctors trying to help with either my gut health or see if I have some kind of issue going on or just something to get kind of any clarity about why my body just, like I said, shuts down when it gets this kind of anxiety, which very much is this particular like separation anxiety. I personally think it might have something to do with the fact that I am a twin. So quite literally for the good majority of my life, I did always have someone in very close proximity to me, especially on a very energetic level. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. But I mean, my whole goal is to kind of just figure out why I might react the way I do in certain situations and then hopefully reroute that energy to more empowered use. Because your girl is super, super tired of ruining her own good time because she just can't physically fucking handle all the stimulation. Listen, I don't mean to be dramatic, but that was freaking awesome. Let me just give you guys the full rundown on what just happened with my first session with this hypnotherapist because I truly feel different already. So I get to this place, I'm waiting in the waiting room to get started. The whole thing, you know, doctor's appointments and shit. So the session begins with basically just a friendly introduction where the hypnotherapist is just asking me about myself, kind of asking me why I'm here, what's my story, that sort of thing, which is honestly always a fun introductory conversation because I'm like, do I trauma dump now or later? Like, when do you want this? Which I decided to go the latter, and I basically just summarized what I told you guys I kind of experienced to my hypnotherapist, which is good because there's something I've realized with hypnotherapy right away, and it's that they don't really need to know your whole narrative or storyline in order to do what they're gonna do. I mean, yeah, obviously you have to know what your client's struggling with and what their kind of like basis is for their life. So for the first like 40 minutes of this session, we're just basically talking about my life, my perspective on things, his life, his perspective on things, and the common ground that things always seem to come back to was about law of attraction and quantum physics. And if you don't know already, quantum physics pretty much completely validates the law of attraction, which is the idea that you create your own reality through your perception. The hypnotherapist actually showed me a few videos that were more science-based approach to these concepts, which if I can find one of the videos, I will definitely link it down below so you can see. I mean, it was basically just a video that you would see from like a 9th grade science class or something like that. Basically just explaining the concept that your perception or the way that you observe something changes what it actually is, which truly is quantum physics and the law of attraction in a nutshell. And I already discussed with my hypnotherapist a bit of what I do for a living, so he kind of knew we were already on the same wavelength of understanding that. And I thought it was interesting because he actually asked the question of what do I see when I look back in the mirror, which I can see why they would ask it, because it's another way for you to kind of explain the narrative that you have about yourself, which could further explain what's going on in your subconscious. But I digress. A big part of just talking beforehand was just briefly explaining these concepts that I'm already pretty familiar with, but also just explaining hypnosis in general and actually relating the state of hypnosis to when you are between the ages of 0 and 7, when you're in that more subconscious programming state where your brain and energy is intentionally more susceptible to things so it can take it in and actually learn things to become conscious of. So all of that plus a lot more was touched upon before we got into this session. Now getting to the actual hypnosis and hypnotherapy is a lot like meditation or guided meditations, I've learned. So for example, for the first part of the hypnosis, I'm just laying back in this really cozy recliner chair and doing deep breathing exercises. Within every inhale, I'm pulling in relaxation, and within every exhale, I'm taking out stress. I'm being guided to be more mindful of my body and the sensations I'm feeling, and to just channel more relaxation into my body, because the whole point of the meditation is to get your brain into a lower frequency, which would be the theta waves, which is where the subconscious, more intuitive energy resides. And I think when we all think of hypnosis, we think of like snap my fingers and I'm gonna make you balk like a chicken or something like that. And I never really understood that until this experience. So while I'm winding down, through this process of like the deep breathing and becoming aware of my body sensations, I'm also being guided by the hypnotherapist to close my eyes and then open my eyes again and do it in kind of a rhythmic way, but it's at their command, meaning I'm just letting myself become a lot more suggestible with how I'm interpreting things and whatnot. So that being said, when I get to the point where they say, okay, close your eyes, you're going to keep your eyes closed, which I'm assuming is because I allowed myself to accept what was being suggested to me. Now, what's interesting is that then they go to say something about like, okay, let's see if you can open your eyes, let's try it out and notice that you can't. And that's when I understood what it means to be hypnotized. Because when they said that, I was aware that if I really, really wanted to, I could open my eyes, but it made me literally laugh out loud because I realized I didn't want to, because I realized I didn't want to turn away from the suggestibility that I was acting in. I was literally in such a go with the flow state that when they say, try to open your eyes, I was just kind of like, there's no willpower for me to do that. In a way, you're literally just being eased into submission or something like that. And then from there, the hypnotherapist just ran through what was like a guided visualization of some sort, where basically he was suggesting things for me to visualize, a whole storyline, but also giving me a narrative to go with it. For example, part of the meditation, we were talking about a bunny, and he was explaining how the bunny was reacting and the primal urges of it, but saying it in statements that were very like sure of themselves. If you've ever listened to any guided meditation or subliminal or anything like that in general, it genuinely is just like speaking to someone, but you're just coming from a place of like, this is truth. And you can just feel that with how you're being spoken to, that again, the suggestibility of that emotional undertone, it's almost impossible not to act within it. And I found myself kind of going in and out of being able to pay attention. Like I would be listening, but then I would find myself in a really vivid space, and then I would come back in and listen more. And it's not that I wasn't listening in those moments. It's kind of like when you're zoned out. It's basically like your brain is taking you to a different spot, but you're still staying conscious of what's actually happening. At least for this first session, I never felt like there was a point where I was like out of control or doing something that I wasn't like intentionally aware that I was doing or something like that. Yet, however, by the end of the session, I kid you not, I felt so euphoric. It literally kind of felt like I was on drugs. And granted, just general breath work or meditation can do that to me sometimes, but this is one of those things that's really cool when you start to do healing work with other people, is that you realize how much stronger your energy is when you have another person also kind of pushing that energy in that direction. That being said, sitting there with the hypnotherapist, I'm already doing the self-hypnosis on myself already as it is, you know, doing the breath work and allowing myself to go deeper, but then to basically allow this energy transfer from another person's positive beliefs and emotional intentions come and affect my energy. I don't know, it was pretty clear to me that my energy was being realigned and readjusted. Because after that session, I pretty much just stayed in the same position, just talking to the hypnotherapist in casual conversation until I was like, oh, I probably should like get up and live my life. And he did email me a 30-day meditation that I need to do as well, so I'll have to let you guys know how that goes. But I mean, overall for my first session, I am already satisfied. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it pans out the next time that I'm traveling, you know, to know specifically how well this worked. But overall, I'm feeling really confident in their abilities, but also confident in my own abilities now, in a way where it just feels like I'm going to be able to handle things. Okay, whoa, we need to talk about what just happened for my second hypnotherapy session, because I was not expecting that. I'm not gonna lie, I wish I would have filmed myself before I did this session, because I was not doing too great. I wasn't necessarily doing bad, but I was feeling pretty low energy. I had kind of like pain in the back of my head and my neck. And I don't know, I've just been kind of dragging this past week, I feel like. I would say the effects of the last session lasted about 2 days before they started to wear off, and it became more up to me to figure my shit out. So honestly, by the time that I was ready for this session, I was kind of just like, yeah, like, let's see if it works again, you know, kind of thing. I don't know, I was just kind of feeling down on my luck for some reason. But no, my luck has been turned around, renewed, and restored, because I just had a fucking epiphany that I was not expecting to have. So today's session was all focused on the first time that I experienced anxiety. So therefore, basically, I just jump right into a session where I get down into my nice relaxed state, and then it's all about opening up your subconscious and letting it show you what it would like to show you. And at his command, it showed me exactly what I needed to see, which, y'all, it's time for a little story time. So what I experienced specifically in this session was feeling like I was on a boat, and it was giving major Titanic vibes, meaning the boat was kind of slanted, outside looked dark, stormy, and foreboding, and for whatever reason it felt very deserted and lonely, and like I was starting to experience water rise and I didn't really understand it. I then had some flashes of symbols like a skull, and basically just this uneasy ship, and feeling kind of uneasy about the water levels rising, like I was saying. Which then, from within that meditation, I was guided by my hypnotherapist to then see my energy presented in the situation, to which I ended up seeing a small version of myself holding a small, frail looking version of my brother. Now, y'all, it's time for a little story time, because about when I was 2 years old, my family went on a cruise ship for a vacation. And on the first few nights of this vacation, my brother got violently ill, to the point where we were literally worried about his health and safety. Now, in case you forgot, I am a twin, and at 2 years old, I had not really been separated from my brother really at all. And if anything, I have always been his support system. My mom literally just explained to me how when we were younger, my brother was the one always cuddling into me while I was his protector and made sure he was safe. So in other words, in this hypnotherapy session, I was able to have a regression to this experience of being on this cruise ship, and I safely got to re-experience the pain and the guilt that I felt when my brother was separated me, and it was in a very life-threatening way, where like I literally thought my brother was going to die. That was the energy that I picked up apparently from that time frame. And for whatever reason, for the first time in my life, I was able to realize how much guilt I seemed to just embedded in my soul, because I wasn't able to be there for him in those moments like I wanted to be. I mean, I was 2 years old, so it's not like it was my fault or anything, but clearly, truly, it's something that has sat with me and that has really bothered my energy for a really long time, because then in the meditation, my higher self, this version of myself, was able to come in and heal that part of myself and basically show myself that I can protect myself and another person all at once. The other parts of the meditation are just about instilling this kind of safety that you have in your body and in your ability to handle things and to have a good time, which is something specifically my body struggles with when I'm on vacations, and now I guess we can understand why. So yes, this has been quite the experience. Hypnosis session 3 check-in. Sorry if you can hear my bath. You can definitely hear my bath. I'm about to take a bath, so what are you gonna do? So I just got back from today's session, and honestly, I can tell you that I was able to hold my baseline so much better this time around. Like, before I did my last session, I just felt kind of like, nah. So then after my session was done, I felt like really good. But this time, honestly, before I went to my session, I felt pretty good, and then leaving the session, I feel even better. In today's session, we basically just went over the feelings of peace and of worry being washed away. Like I spent most of the session on a beach and just experiencing that in a very like surreal way. I mean, the whole point of getting really deep in a meditation is to be able to experience things almost like you're experiencing them physically, but in your head. So yeah, I don't even have much to report other than I just feel good. Like I feel great right now. I feel confident. I feel like my workflow has been a lot better too lately. Like, I don't know, I was just saying to him how I felt like even when I had moments where I felt like I needed to be doing something in my regular routine, I had those moments where I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I don't need to rush. I don't need to like push myself. I don't know. Like I said, my baseline is just a lot more calmer and a lot more inspired to act from a place that is more of a call to action rather than like an eagerness or like an overabundance of energy that's like luring me in different directions, which is a lot more, I feel like, of how I always operated and thought it was way more intuitive than what it might have been at different times. Like for example, when I've been doing readings, I've been channeling this energy of peace beforehand so that when I go to do the readings, I'm in a more calm, peaceful space, regardless of what the energy I'm walking into is. And for whatever reason, that has helped me significantly in feeling like I can actually deliver the message well. I mean, truly at this point, what I can tell is a huge effect of my hypnotherapy session is just a level of the inner turmoil that I've always felt in any connection or any kind of thing I was doing, no matter what it was, has subsided. Like the dust has settled. I feel calm inside and like I can see through the water because it's clear now instead of murky and confusing. Basically, my emotional well has now found a filter and it's thriving on it. And that filter, in case you're wondering, is this hypnosis where I am offering myself a different subconscious route to take with things. Hence why, like I said, my overall baseline has changed. Also, my resilience to negative emotions is a lot stronger. Like, I don't know, I just find myself experiencing feelings coming up that I used to experience and feel nauseous about, but then now there's like this space in between where I can almost say, okay, I see you, you can go away now, in a lot more of a commanding way than I felt like I've ever had before. I mean, this is a skill that I feel like I've always had, but now it's just coming from such a strong, confident, stable place that it's like a lot more powerful than what I would have expected, I guess. Yay, hypnosis! And there we have it. That concludes my 4th session of hypnotherapy. This has been a lot different of an experience than what I was kind of expecting it to be. First and foremost, I feel great after that last session. We did something different than we've done in the previous sessions this time. And if I'm gonna be honest, I literally don't remember most of it. He did tell me beforehand that this one was going to be a lot more of a random thing and a lot less of like a guided visualization like we've been doing. And truly that's how it felt. I felt like I just kind of went directly into my subconscious realm and started dinking around doing my thing. Really pay attention to anything that he was saying, and I felt like I gained something out of it, even though I don't really understand what I was doing when I was in there. Like I was just seeing a bunch of things, experiencing a bunch of like symbolism, and it brought me a sense of peace. And once again, your girl is on cloud 9 after her session, although this is different because this cloud 9 versus the first cloud 9 I was on are 2 very different cloud 9s. Because I told you after the first session that it felt like I was on drugs or something, but this has a more like calm, centered type feeling to it than on drugs. Instead of bliss, I feel like a centered groundingness type vibe more than anything. It's funny because he did ask me again if I had been noticing any changes around me, and after like thinking about it since the last session, I realized that I've actually been experiencing a lot of like different good changes in my life. Like I've been able to make game plans for things that I've been like stumped on for literally years now, and just see the clear plan on how to unfold different things. I've had a lot of different opportunities handed to me. I've also had a lot more people give to me lately, whether it's giving me compliments or wanting to offer me physical things. I mean, literally, I got these 4 hypnotherapy sessions done for completely free for whatever reason. Like it just, I don't know, things have been happening for me a lot easier. And I truly would accredit that to the programming that I've been doing during these hypnotherapy sessions. So basically what I feel like I've learned here are just a lot more tools about how to access my subconscious and actually really work with it. I mean, like I said, I already kind of knew how to do a lot of these things, but really setting some kind of intentionality and then working with the belief system of another person, like I felt super, super empowered And just, I don't know, I have a different kind of confidence than what I had prior to doing these hypnotherapy sessions. And a lot of that stems from the self-assuredness that I've built within them. A good way to describe it is before, my energy was a lot more shaky. Like if I was a pop, I was all fizzy at the top because I was constantly shaking like this just a little bit. Or if I was under high stress situations, that pop was like exploding, overflowing, making a mess everywhere. But with the hypnotherapy, it's basically made it so the pop has gone flat. I've lost my carbonation, but in a good way. I'm basically clear, refined spring water at this point. I don't feel like at any moment if something comes up, it's gonna like set me off my rocker and overfill. Like, nah, I feel like I can just kind of handle things. Like for example, this time of the year is always kind of triggering for me, and I've noticed doing this hypnotherapy has almost made it even more easy for things to kind of come up for me, just because I'm like walking around in my subconscious quite literally. However, consequently, it's also made me not as reactive or like triggered by things that actually trigger me. Like I notice that I'm like triggered, but it doesn't like bother me or send me into like a fit of emotional rage as quick as it used to before. If anything, I haven't gotten to that space at all since I've done hypnotherapy, which is interesting because I found myself in some pretty interesting moments lately. And instead of feeling any kind of really severe anxiety about them, I just feel a lot more in control of changing my perception and trusting myself, bringing myself back to my body. And I don't know, it's not super conscious as much as it is just like a general trust and faith that I have built in my own abilities to channel this energy in a healthy and efficient way, which, like I said, all goes back to the subconscious programming that I've been deliberately working on and will continue to work on with the meditation he gave me and with some other things that we have planned for me to do before bed every night. Just visualization stuff to really feel on a personal level connected to that role of the creator on the day-to-day. So yeah, this has literally been a life-changing experience. And like I said, it's not like I learned a ton of like super new information as much as I was learning things that were creating like epiphany moments where I was having like things that I knew and things that I felt come together, which is such an underrated blessing. Like truly, like those are the moments in life that I think people really should strive for, because that feels better than anything that I feel like I've personally sought after my whole life. So well, it looks like this one wants to hang out with me now, so I guess I'm going to do that. But thank you so much for watching this little video diary that I did about my journey with hypnosis. I was just feeling really called to share this journey with you guys because I think this could be something that a lot of people could benefit from, honestly. But it's kind of weird, like I don't know, I've never really heard of anybody else doing this before I've done it, so not to flex or anything, but she's ahead of her time. Okay, I'm gonna skedaddle, so I will see you guys in a later video. Oh, wait, stop before you go. Make sure you check out my other social medias and other videos and stuff if you want to check out more content from me. Now you can go. I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye.